All right, what's going on? Welcome to Chatterbox Reds live postgame. I'm joined with my good friend Craig Sandlin. And Craig, wish I could have you on against a little bit better times for our Reds. Still some game left, but not been a fun afternoon and long day so far.
Yeah, rough day so far for sure. Game two, I think, has gone a lot better. Obviously, mistake there to Bellinger for the home run. Um, but in general, just offensively, we gotta figure some things out for this team. And I think realistically, the pieces are there. It's just you gotta get some confidence back and figure it out. But yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now back to game one, actually, and how the Cubs didn't have to use their closer. Uh, in game one because they tacked on the runs and how how big that looms and how they didn't really have to use they brought Merriweather in, but then they added a bunch and they used their like fourth, fifth best reliever for the last two innings.
Yeah,
That definitely hurts right now. No question about it.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it during the show, but just in general, it's been a rough day to be a Reds fan. But it's not over. It's not over, Nick.
It's not. You know what? We were on here on Saturday night against the Diamondbacks. I was on with Bryce, and that game looked a lot more dire than this one. And somehow the Reds, the Redlegs,
Yeah.
found a way. And hey, you need a little September magic sometimes, and hey, maybe they have it, but need to somehow find a way to hold the Cubs here.
Yeah. I'll save it for the actual show, but I've got some comments on the offense, some observations from today that have been interesting to say the least. But it's just a young squad. They'll figure it out. But it's gonna take time. But time is short for this year.
Well, Craig, tell the folks what you do, where you're from, however much you want to tell the internet. Uh,
Yeah.
Real quick, me and Craig go way back. We were in each other's weddings once upon a time ago.
Yes, we
Craig's
were.
been a good friend, and I was excited. I was like, hey, Craig's been watching our show, and I was like, Craig, why aren't you coming on at some point when I need when I have a traceless night? So really excited to have you, but tell the folks whatever you want to tell them.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here too. Born and raised in Cincinnati, lifelong Reds fan. Obviously, you can see some of the memorabilia and stuff behind me. Bengals and Reds fan, literally my entire life. So, been through the ups and downs just like you have. Ohio University grad, like your friend Tom Brenneman. Um, Worked in college athletics for 15 years. And when COVID hit, was laid off and found myself working in a tech startup that focuses on sports cards now. So a little bit different life, but still around sports, and have been, like you said, watching the show and watching the Reds all year, and excited to be on the show today. Wish it was, well, it's not over, but hopefully, under better circumstances. And, I think I'll be on again tomorrow night. So let's get one of the three that I'm a part of. Can we do that much?
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I see that. I see this comment from Chris. And yeah, look, Chris is a good dude. We chat a lot on the X.com app, and like, look, I'll be honest. Look, this stinks. Like, trying to do these shows the last couple weeks has been a real grind. But coming into this, like, I knew what I was getting myself into this year, and I thought we'd have like 20 people watching these shows at this point in the season. I'm trying to make a case for why this reliever is a good fit for next year's team, and we're really playing out the string, and there's probably a lot of guys like Jake Fraley isn't even trying right now because they're just looking to get to next season. So you know what, it could be a lot worse. I watched a 100-loss team last year. This team has been a lot of fun, even if the last couple weeks haven't been fun. And I don't really think this takes that much away from that. But
No. I mean, Jake realistically today could have three doubles. I think that first hit that he had, I think he like was a little tentative. he probably could have stretched that if he really wanted to, but I mean, he's looked great at the plate, so it's good to have him back. I know we've been waiting for this day, so glad he's come back and right in swing.
Yeah. All right. Well, big outs there from Alexis Diaz. I mean, De La Cruz, Martini, CES. Man, this you're a bloop and a blast away from completely turning the entire vibes around for really this entire weekend, not just the day. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Our good friend Reds in 4, tweeted out earlier today that, their closer, he's due for a bad outing. He's overperformed this year. So, maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day.
Only time will tell. But look, you've got the heart of the lineup coming up. I mean, if you had to pick, I mean, I don't know if Martini will actually still see the plate or not. Well, we'll see about that. But,
I would think so. I mean, it's right left. So
yeah.
Oh, does Assad at least walk some? Not Assad. I get them confused.
Adbert,
Assad. And they both start with A's.
Alzolay, yeah.
Adbert. You know what, Adbert? You know what? You need to have a shitty outing, my friend. You need to just come out and lay a goose egg. He's been used a lot.
Yeah.
Let's look at this. Threw 16 pitches on Wednesday, 11 on Tuesday. So he's had to be used a little bit. He's at a workload he hasn't been at. Let's see. Does he walk guys? I don't think he walked guys. I'm like, man, just walk Ellie. Please. just throw 4 balls.
Base runner. Just throw us the base runner and let us see what happens. Please have some mercy.
Oh God, he's got a 1.49 walks per 9. Oh, that's gross. That's gross. All right. Well, as Ricky Logan Jr. says, you know what, folks? In times like these, you need some likes. You need a lot of likes. We're grinding right now. Give us some likes. Oh, all right. Craig, your first time, at this point, I would just ignore the chat, ignore the screen, so we can get some wholesome reactions to whatever is coming our way.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what Adbert brings to the plate today. I mean, slider most of the time, 45% of the time. But this team is struggling against breaking balls, so will he break out the sinker, the sweeper, the changeup? He's only thrown 5 times this year. So we'll see where he goes against this team. I mean, ball one, we'll take it. Ellie can't hit a fastball to save his life right now. So if I'm Adbert, I might be just throwing heat up in the zone against Ellie. Ball 2.
I thought he was going to call it a strike, and I was about to say some potty words.
This umpire's been interesting. He's given the outside edge when it's thigh high, but like nothing else.
He hasn't been terrible. You know what?
No, he hasn't been terrible, but he's been.
If I say an umpire hasn't been terrible, that means he probably did a really, really good job. So shout out
consistent.
Shout out to this guy.
Yeah, I think he's been consistent. When we look at the umpire scorecard tomorrow, I think you're going to see a very high consistency score. That's all you can ask for.
When Hayden Wesneski was just like painting, and which made it just brutal. Like, come on, man. Like, with the way this Reds offense has been swinging, you're throwing these pitches up there. My God. Every single one of them were, like, right on the line. Come on, Ellie. I'm not a lineup guy, but I'll say it. Maybe you need to move him down. And I think it's more. I think it's more than anything just to take a little pressure off him.
Yeah. You see lineup changes a lot in terms of like trying to protect a guy, but like he's getting pitches. It's not like they're pitching around him. The dude is getting pitches. He's just missing. So move him down the lineup, take some pressure off of him.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's been billed the savior of the Reds for this basically entire second half of the season. So, oh my God, I just snuck a peek at the screen, Nick. Don't look. Don't look.
I can see the chat going wild in the corner. Oh boy. I don't know. What am I in? What am I in for? We can't ground into a double play. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think you can ground into with no one.
Nobody can do that. Oh my Who had Nick Martini going 20 rows deep? Did you have Nick Martini going 20 rows deep on your bingo card tonight?
You wanted to pinch hit for him, Craig. You wanted to pinch hit for him. Oh my God, I'm gonna get killed for waking up my kids.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. What a moment.
I saw some people, well, I'll say we could talk about it in the show too, but there were people on Twitter today talking about how Martini's like first couple games that basically earned him this shot, and how David Bell keeps putting him in there despite the fact that he doesn't deliver, and then he goes out and does that.
Dude, ride whatever hot player you have right now.
Unreal.
Come on, CES. Come on.
Gosh, come on.
Wreck their day. Wreck their day.
Oh, I'll base it. Let's go. Let's go. Wow. Stu.
Stu. Where you at, Hoosier? Where you at, Hoosier? God, please don't get thrown out. Folks, we're behind the chat. We can't read the chat.
We can't read the chat.
You're not going to get wholesome reactions. And I mean, I guess that was still spoiled, but that was just such a moment. It didn't matter if it was spoiled.
It didn't matter.
I mean, I assume there was a home run.
Yeah, that was my fault.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's the screen's fault.
It's okay.
Will Benson's had some really good at-bats today.
Yeah.
Hasn't made great contact, but he walked his last 2 times up, right? So, I mean, take your time, see some pitches, find a pitch that you can hit. I don't know. They were talking about it earlier. This is still the same catcher that has like a 20-something% throwout rate, caught stealing rate, right? Despite not having a great arm.
No, is that Gomes behind there? I think they brought Gomes in.
Yeah, I think it's Jan Gomes, right?
Yeah, Gomes is pretty good. I think the guy they were talking about was their rookie. I can't remember his name.
Miguel Amaya. But they were talking about him in game 1 and how he has a weak arm, right? Or his caught stealing numbers are terrible. But I thought they were talking earlier about him. You'll find it before I even finish my thought.
Yeah, Jan Gomes Jan Gomes has had some success. So sometimes those like caught stealings can really be a little fluky over a year. It's not the other guy. I know the other guy stinks.
Okay.
Well, get out. Gomes is 26%. He's thrown out 15 runners this year. So, I mean, that's right at league average, I think.
Yep.
Oh boy, I'm getting texts from the wife.
Come on, Will.
I'm really sorry if you're watching.
This is your fault,
honey. I mean, like, come on, that was a moment. Oh,
Andrea, let me reiterate. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. We love you. We appreciate you.
Shout out to you, Ricky Logan Jr. Shout out to
vibes,
you,
baby.
Ricky Logan Jr. Man, there's been some dark days where you know the chat's just been having a rough time, and Ricky just always comes in with good vibes. Ricky was at a Chatterbox Reds night on the riverboat. Got to hang out with him and his wife. He's a good dude. Thanks, Ricky, for watching. Come on, Will. Thank the Cubs for coming to town. There you go. Good take.
Told you, man. Will's had some good ABs.
Yeah, I mean, he's just even when I think he has the best strikeouts in the league. Like when he strikes out, you still feel good, right? What do you
feel like the pitcher earned it, right? Here we go, 3-2 again.
Come on, Will.
Come on, Will.
You're sending Stu here, right?
I think you have to.
I mean, we're at the 7th spot in the lineup. Who's even on deck?
Yeah.
Because they pinch hit for. Oh, it's Marte on deck. Yeah, you're sending him. I'm taking my chances.
Oh, go, Stu! Oh my God!
Hey, Noelvi Marte's got great speed. You could get an infield single here and win the ball game. That's a big deal. All right.
I mean, we've seen
or a wild pitch, or buck. Give me a buck. He's Will's lucky he didn't get catcher or batter interference on that.
Yeah, he kind of leaned into that one, didn't he?
Yeah, you have to hit you were an umpire. You have to hit him, right?
No, you don't have to make contact. It just has to be determined that he affected the throw. And I think just rewatching that replay, it looked like he kind of fell into home plate after the throw had already happened. So
Gomes should have sold that maybe a little bit more.
He definitely could have. I think he could have.
All right.
But look, we've seen the chaos that speed can cause, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna cover up. I'm gonna cover up the game cast so I don't see what happens here. Man, he's been hitting the ball well. 0-for-3, but he's making contact.
He had 2 hits in game 1. Game 1. Really, he's had a lot of hard hit outs too of late. What's Marte's batting average now, chat? What's his batting average? How about that?
I'm doing the show every night. Trace who? Trace who? The Reds just stole a ball game from the Chicago Cubs. Let's go. Wow.
That's a September moment, folks. That's a September moment. Greg, you do the honors, my friend.
Nick, let's do a show, baby.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the world bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! Red win!
Hi, friends. How about that? They're not dead. Every time this season, you've wanted to call them dead. They somehow find a way. They've done it all year. Got swept in a 4-game series in Pittsburgh. They find a way. This team has hung around all year. Are the Reds going to make the playoffs? I don't know, but this has been a damn fun season. Don't forget it. This has been special. That was a September moment that we'll never forget. Noelvi Marte, Nick Martini. Are you kidding me? Craig, this is Craig Sandlin. This is my friend, his Chatterbox Reds debut.
What a game to make a debut on. I mean, young guys stepping up. Marte making plays defensively throughout the entire day, comes up with a chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth, and what does he do? Writes the story. I mean, what more could you ask for? Winner, winner, chicken dinner, baby. Let's go.
Well, and right off the bat, I want to mention this because it feels the exact same way as that game that the Reds stole in Arizona last weekend on Saturday to hang around. You got to give a lot of credit to Buck Farmer, Ian Jabot, and Alexis Diaz just putting up 0 after 0 after 0 while this offense is struggling and giving this team a chance. And shout out my guy Reds in 4. He said Albert Alzolay was due for a stinker. And oh boy, did he have a stinker tonight. He got a Nick Martini stinker.
He had a stinker, and you didn't mention him, which I'm shocked. Shout out Lyon Richardson.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
The dude walked, I don't even know, 4 guys in the first 3 innings. Crazy. And then to only give up 1 run throughout that entire time, he battled all game. I think that was his longest appearance of the season. I mean, ate up valuable innings in order to be able to hand the ball over to the rest of the bullpen. I mean, unreal.
What a team. What a season. I don't know where to go, folks. I'm trying to digest what I just saw. I texted Trace, quote, in all caps, get your ass on the show. I don't know if he has enough service downtown, but I'm sure if Trace can find a way to get on, he's going to get on. Wow. What a win. What a win. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, incredible win. And again, contributions from everyone, pitching, offense, defense. I mean, just that was an all-around team win. Clutch moment from Noelvi Marte. I mean, unreal. I think realistically, Nick, I think we start the show, as much as I hate it, skim over game one. We'll do a little bit of a recap, and then let's get into game 2 and what really matters.
All right. Well, I had a graphic for game 1. I got a little recap. We'll run through it quick because it doesn't matter. Game 1's forgotten about. It's long gone. It's long gone. The Reds won. They found a way. Trace told me, folks. Buy me 30 minutes. That was his quote. So we're going to stay on. However long you guys will watch, we'll stay on. But if you'll stay on, if we can keep that crowd over, at least, over 200, Trace will join us. And I can't wait to hear what he says. He was there. He just saw that moment. Let's run it through some super chats, folks. Ricky Logan Jr. Let's thank Elliot for going 2 scoreless. Elliot. Oh, I think he's making fun of Jabot. Appreciate it. Michael Rolfe. There's something magic about this show. When I tune in, wild good things happen to the Reds. This one goes out to Chad and Ricky. Let's go Reds. Michael, if you only tune in on these nights, brother, we need you. We're in crucial mode here the rest of the season. So Michael, join us. All right, let's run through game 1.
We say likes equal wins. I think Michael equals wins. We might need to bring Michael in for the next show. Let's go.
All right, let's run through game 1, and then I'll let Craig kind of yap, and that's going to buy me some time to kind of figure out where we're going to go with this. But here's what happened in game 1, in case you're just tuning in. I know a lot of you are probably working today, so let's at least run through it. It was a scoreless game going into the 4th inning. Cody's stupid, ugly Bellinger hit a solo home run off Graham Ashcraft. Reds responded in the bottom of the 4th. A Noelvi Marte RBI single tied the game up at 1. It was a 1-1 game going into the 6th. Graham Ashcraft allowed 2 hits to lead off the inning. He left the game with runners on 2nd and 3rd. Lucas Sims gave up a single to Bellinger. Stupid, ugly Cody Bellinger. 3-1 Cubs. Cubs then poured it on. They scored runs off Duarte and Law. Reds lose 6-2. To make that matters worse, Ashcraft was dealing with a sore toe going to the start. He gutted through it today, but he's going to get an MRI. Oh, and to make matters even worse, Reds have multiple players on the COVID IL: Hunter Green, Fernando Cruz, Ben Lively. I believe they have to be out 7 days. Hunter's not going to make his next start against the Mariners, but the Reds are hoping he can come back Friday against the Cardinals. So that was the vibes coming into game 2. But Craig, talk to us a little bit about game 1. I do think Graham Ashcraft, especially if, man, this dude's like hobbling around, he did give a heck of a performance today.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, technically, according to the books, 3 earned runs, right? I mean, but again, like you said, I thought pitched really well in general the entire day. I would have been interested to see what would have happened had they left him in. I think we can all agree, though. I don't know why we're pitching to Bellinger there in that situation with first base open. I thought that was a interesting decision, to say the least. For Sims to come in and first pitch be able to give up that hit, it just felt like the wrong move. In general, game 1 felt to me like it had the makings of the end of this year, right? I mean,
yeah,
you have the blue shirts in the stands yelling "Let's go Cubbies" at the end of the game. You end up losing 6-1 in what really was not a very good looking game in general. And then to turn around in game 2, which we'll talk about in a minute, to be able to come out and rebound like that is a potentially season-saving performance, which we'll talk about. I think in game 1, I think you could see the pressure on the young players. I was actually counting. I counted 10 outs recorded on balls outside the zone by the Reds during that first game. And that's on swings and misses. That's on outs that were hit into the field. Just 10 balls that we made outs on that were outside of the zone. I think the pressure was getting to them. They were feeling the need to make something happen. If I remember correctly, 6 of them were in like the first 3 innings. It just, they felt the weight of this series, and it showed, quite frankly. The pitching staff, Graham Ashcraft did extremely well to try to keep that game close early on. But offensively, it just felt like we felt the weight of the series on our shoulders.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I didn't agree with pitching to Bellinger. I understand like the thought process behind it. You're bringing in Lucas Sims, and especially when you know about Graham Ashcraft that he was running on fumes, it makes that decision even more, I think, of the correct decision to go to Sims there. I'm sure in David Bell's head, Lucas Sims at times struggles with command, and he's like, I don't want to put I don't want to make a walk bring in a run. I think that's the fear, and he's thinking, you know what? As good as Cody Bellinger is, Cody Bellinger can swing and miss. I know this year he's like drastically dropped down that strikeout rate that was like really high before, but I think, man, you're kind of at the point of that game where it's almost do or die. Like, you kind of just have to say, look, if Lucas Sims walks in a run, he walks in a run. I'm not going to let Cody Bellinger beat me. So I agree with that. I'm just trying to explain. I'm not defending. I'm just trying to explain what I think was the logic behind that. But yeah, I felt in game 1, the Reds had a lot of decent swings in this game. Unfortunately for the Reds in game 1, they didn't have a single extra base hit. Like, they had 7 hits in the game, and they had a lot of hard hit outs, but they didn't have a single extra base hit. And that's just, I mean, that's what really makes the weight of the world, I think, feel in this team, because it kind of felt back. And until Nick Martini just maybe saved the season, I don't think I'm even exaggerating. It felt almost like back in April, where this team just couldn't hit a home run to save their life. And people like to say, how you want to play small ball and all this. Not in today's game, man. I feel like there's more pressure when you can't hit a home run. Hitting a home run takes a lot of pressure off of a team, especially a young team. And so that was what really just kind of stuck out to me game 1. I thought overall, I mean, they had some really well hit balls. Like Noelvi Marte had 2 hits. Who else had a good day? Spencer Steer had 2 hits, but it was just unfortunately nothing to get down. All right, enough. You got any other points on game 1?
Just the despite what I said earlier about feeling the pressure, to your point, made good contact. And what stood out to me in terms of those hits specifically were they were opposite field hits. I think both of Steer's hits were to right field, if I remember correctly. So seeing the young guys settle in, take the ball to the opposite field, it's a good sign. So yeah, didn't go our way, but you know what did? Game 2, Nick. Game 2 ended up going our way.
Shout out to Griff for the super chat. I think Griff's just saying, let's go. I think that's the super chat. So GIF. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate everyone watching. I can't keep up with the chat. When the Reds win a game like that, there's no keeping up, especially when I'm trying to run the show, as rough as it might be. But let's do this. Because you know what? Our good friends at DSC, Deep South Commodities, they only want to come on and do an ad. They paid for ads, but they only want to do an ad after Reds wins. They don't want to do them after losses. And it's been some tough sledding of late. So let's make sure we give them a shout out because Nick Martini just saved the season. Nick Martini, solo home run, 105.1 off the bat, 418 glorious feet into the Sun Moon deck. And that was our deep drive of the day, sponsored by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuels productions, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks to our friends at Deep South Commodities. And do me one quick favor, because these guys have been such great supporters. John, the guy who owns DSC, he's a Reds fan. He's a Reds fan just like me, just like Craig, just like you. Watch him. Go to www.deepsouthcommodities.com. Probably half the people in here won't even know what it means. That's fine. But flood them. Let them know that, hey, you're watching the show, and we appreciate it. If you're just joining us, Trace is going to try to get on. Trace was down at Great American Ballpark. God only knows what his reaction to the Nick Martini moment was. But we'll get that here in a minute. Let's talk about, oh boy. There we go. Let's talk about game 2. I try to get the box score up as quick as I can. Might be hard to read. I don't know. Maybe if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually read that. But nonetheless, so let's talk about Lyon Richardson. What a wild performance. The 37-pitch first inning without allowing a run. I didn't even, it's almost impossible to do. But hey, after that, to this guy's credit, it's only his 3rd big league start. I also, Craig, don't know, when was Lyon Richardson even told he was starting this game? Because we all thought it was going to be Ben Lively. We don't know when Ben Lively, came down with COVID. Was Lyon told 3 hours ago, hey, Ben just tested positive? I don't, maybe it wasn't that dire, but I don't think he had a full time to prepare for the start, and he gutted through 4 2/3 innings. The second earned run was after he left, but man, I think he's shown a lot of promise, and I think he continues to be a guy that, man, I look at and say he's absolutely in the mix for a starting rotation spot in 2024.
Yeah, well, first of all, just to address today's performance first before we get into his future, I mean, that first inning, 37 pitches, 3 walks. He literally walked the bases loaded, and to strike out the last 2 batters, one of which looking 37 pitches. I mean, to get out of that is insane in itself, but every single inning, it felt like he had to battle. But the reason we love Graham Ashcraft is because he can battle. And if we can add another arm into the rotation that we know is going to battle for us every single night, then the Reds are going to be in a good spot. We've talked at length about how necessary depth is at starting pitching. We've seen the necessity this year to be able to go to Lyon Richardson potentially hours before today's game. Because I do think up until today, the plan was Ben Lively. To go to him and say, hey, we need you to step up. And for him to come in and go 91 pitches, 4 2/3 of 2-hit ball. Now he gave up the 5 walks, whatever. 2 hits over 4 2/3. I mean, I don't think we could have asked for anything more out of him today.
Yeah, and remember, the Reds did not put Ben Lively on the IL until between the games. So I don't know if there's something more to that. And maybe there was some gamesmanship to that where the Reds were, trying to throw the Cubs off guard, which would make sense. That'd be smart, right? If you can get away with it. But one point I want to make about Lyon. In this game, you might say, hell, he only went 4 2/3 innings. He threw 91 pitches. Lyon this season had not thrown more than 81 all year. And prior to August 12th, when he got kind of ramped up, he hadn't thrown more than 76. Most of Lyon Richardson's starts, if you look at like his game logs, he started out the year only going 2 or 3 innings at a time because he was coming back off Tommy John surgery. And this guy, I don't think the plan was for him to throw 91 pitches tonight, but I think the Reds was like, man, we got to get everything we can, and he got on a roll. So really, I mean, this is it's a heroic performance from Richardson. Obviously, it's a lot easier to forget this without the heroics later in the game, but he kept this team in the game, and this was a big, big time start from him. And I'm excited about this guy's future because he really, he feels different. He feels different. He really, there's some batters that went up to the box against him and left, and you could see them like, man, that guy's tough. That guy's tough to hit.
Well, and what's important to remember is that you likely didn't have Sims, Duarte, or Law available in game 2 because they threw in game 1. And so imagine he goes out there and he doesn't battle through and they have to pull him after 1 or 2 innings. And now your bullpen, who's already thin, has to go out and try and throw 8 because without Sims, Duarte, and Law. And he was able to get 4 2/3. Only 1 inning did he face the minimum, and that was the 4th, and realistically was saved by an unreal play by Marte in the field to end that inning, diving towards the foul line and making that play. I mean, I think that was a big play too, to be able to save momentum there. He battled for sure. And I think at the end of the day, without that, we'd be having a different conversation for sure.
Well, then that goes into Samuel. Samuel did give up a run. He's got to work on holding the runners a little bit better, especially as a lefty. But Samuel's been really good for the Reds. No issues there. But then Buck Farmer, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment on the Samuel thing. Yes, holding on runners for sure. They clearly had something on him, but that was a 10-pitch at bat that he ended up giving that single up on. I mean, it was a good at bat. So you got to give credit where credit's due sometimes. Not a whole lot to say there. I mean, unfortunately, he gave up the hit, but it was a 10-pitch at bat. He battled. The stolen bases are really what hurt because without that stolen base, then that single means nothing.
And that was a weak hit too. It wasn't like it smoked the ball. So it was all about holding the runner. I mean, that's the only criticism, but whatever. You move on. I think he'll work on that. He'll fix that. But then the next guys, Buck Farmer, scoreless inning. Ian Jabot, 2 scoreless innings, only 1 hit, no walks from Ian Jabot. That was a big, big problem with him. Heroic effort from Ian Jabot. And then Alexis Diaz, remember, he gave up Craig a leadoff double, right? And he battled through, put up a 0, and gave the Reds a chance. What is a tremendous job from those 3 guys. Again, just like last Saturday, and it was Ben Lively as the main guy, and then several other guys after him, kept this team afloat and gave this team a chance.
Yeah, 100% gave the team a chance. I mean, without the bullpen, you're not in that position. And you look at game 1. Realistically, at 3-1 after the 6th, you were still in position to make a move and try and win that ball game. But after giving up another run in the 8th, giving up 2 in the 9th, changed the outcome of that game, right? Holding them to within a 1 run, I mean, you really are worked up, man. You really are. But yeah, I mean, Ian Jabot, I think today was his 63rd appearance on the year. I mean, dude's appeared in almost half our games. And continues to hold it down. He's just got that rubber arm, baby.
Man, I live this. Like I live this with you. I may be able to stomach the losses. I try not to let losses really bother me, too much within reason. I try to remember it's a game. It's supposed to be fun, but man, moments like this is why you're a fan of the Reds. I mean, this is it. Like, this is what we. This is why you invest. This is why you do a stupid podcast every single night. Is for moments like that. That was awesome. That was incredible. And like we said, I don't know how the rest of the season is going to play out, but that was a special moment. That's a moment I'm not going to forget. Let's jump into the first hero, Nick Martini. Man, I mean, this dude. So Craig, we do like the minor league stuff every night. I didn't even mention Nick Martini's name. I owe Mr. Martini an apology. I didn't mention him at AAA. I don't know if we mentioned him a single time. Maybe he had like a 2-home run game and I like threw it in at the end. But I never mentioned Nick Martini and what he was doing down at AAA. But it's so easy when you have guys like that are kind of these guys that you find off the scrap heap, guys that are playing overseas last year. They come over and they play well in AAA. It's so easy to just kind of, you know what? It's just one of those guys. But there's a million of them. You see Henry Ramos come up and not perform. But Nick Martini, what he's done to give this team a boost over this last week, last 2 weeks has just been incredible. And for a team that is just so bad against right-handed pitching, I don't know how much longer the Magic's here, but man, I am riding this Magic out.
That's all you can do with a young team. I mean, regardless of if it's Nick Martini or Marte or anybody else, you're riding the Magic. I mean, these young guys, anything you can get out of them is magic at this point. Martini with an OPS of 985 through the season so far. I mean, all you can do is exactly that. You just laugh. I mean, nobody expects it, but at the end of the day, when you have a deep farm system like the Reds have built, it's next man up. I mean, you hate to say it, but the expectation has to be that when somebody goes down, you have the depth to be able to do it. And the reason we've given up some of the star players that we've given up over the last couple of years is because of this exact reason, to build the depth and win the right way. And Nick Martini, tell you what, nobody expected it, but nobody's complaining about it either. Well, some people are probably complaining about it.
Some people always find
not tonight. They're not.
Noelvi Marte. Well, no. Before we get to Marte, CES had the big single. Stuart Fairchild, big stolen base. Shout out Stuart. Got to get that in when I can. But CES has really looked good of late. Had the 4-hit game in San Francisco on Wednesday. And starting to hit the ball a lot harder, and boy, we need him. Huge hit from CES. It's really been an up. It's really been not really an up and down. It was really just down, but look, he's coming back out of it. Reds need CES this last month. They need him. They need him to get hot, and he's definitely showing some signs of it.
100%. I think the 4 hits against San Francisco were all over 100 miles an hour exit velo. The hit tonight he had was 105 off the bat, 105.5. But even in his other at bats, he was hitting the ball hard, and he's been hitting the ball hard for several games now. And I think that's a good sign. And we need him to get hot. I mean, I don't care about the lack of power that he's shown so far at the big league level. I know that'll come. I care about the fact that he's hitting the ball hard and he's putting the ball in play. And right now, that's what he's doing.
All right, and then Noelvi Marte, 2 hits in game 1. Obviously, the walk-off single heard around the world in the bottom of the 9th. Marte's definitely struggled at times, but you can really see with Noelvi Marte at 21 years old, you can see why he has a chance to be a special talent. Even if he's, the batting average is low right now, he can hit the ball really hard. He is incredible defensively for a 21-year-old. Some of the plays that he's made, he also, probably saved some runs, killed some rallies from the Cubs today. And that it wasn't just today. He's been playing really, really good defense at third base. He looks like a guy that can be a plus defender over there.
Well, I think the same reason that he's been a plus defender at third base is a similar reason why he's impressed a lot of people on the base paths and at the plate, is that his reaction time has just been off the charts, it seems. He's making plays like the one tonight on down the line, where I don't think off the bat I thought he even had a chance, to be honest with you. And he made that play and came off of it. Nobody really talked about his speed coming up to the big leagues, and he's shown some speed on the base pass. He's stolen some bases. He's made some moves. I think realistically, he's just a smart baseball player. And sometimes being smart and having good reaction time and just being on the balls of your feet, ready to go at any time, sometimes that's just as important as actually being fast and all of those things. So impressed with him offensively and defensively. The numbers will come around. I'm not too worried about his, I think, 190 whatever batting average right now. That'll change.
And the Cubs, what a deflating loss. I mean, you talk about a team that was about to have a huge day, go into Cincinnati, sweep a doubleheader, feeling really, really good. That is a deflating loss, and it may mean nothing tomorrow. Cubs may come out and, beat up on Andrew Abbott. It may not mean anything. We've seen that happen before. Momentum in baseball is so fickle. But this was as deflating of a loss as you could possibly have in September. I mean, just kind of where they were at. I mean, they were about to really seize control of that second wild card spot. And man, hey, the Reds right now. So let's kind of paint the picture here. Obviously, if the Reds win these next two, the Reds are in the driver's seat, right? But if the Reds now can just win one of the next two, they're still going to be 3 games behind the Cubs, which isn't great, but they are going to take the tiebreaker on the Cubs. So that is going to, give them a little bit more. Also, it's going to get them closer with the Giants and Diamondbacks, as there is 2 spots that we're talking about. And hopefully the Padres can find a way to get a rare win tonight against the Giants, and the Reds can get back within a game. But the Cubs, man, they had to have been going, all right, we came in here, because really, if the Cubs win this game, like, they've just set themselves up for the whole weekend. Like, everything else was almost gravy after this, right?
Well, not only does it put them in a great position for that second wild card spot, but the Phillies and Brewers are playing this weekend as well. And so, depending on the outcome of that series, they very well could have been in a position to be making a move on the division as a whole. And I'm not saying that can't happen or that would have happened, but right now the Brewers are up 3-2 against the Phillies in the top of the 8th, but the Phillies have 2 men on, so who knows? But it was a big weekend either way, because let's say the Brewers at home find a way to take 2 of 3 from Philly. Well, now you're only 2.5 back of Philly of that number 1 wild card spot, which also could be making a big play here. At the end of the day, whether you're Chicago, Philly, anybody else, your goal has to be playing at home in that first round of the wild card. And realistically, they could have solidified their position to do that and to host a wild card playoff round. Still can happen, but yeah, 3 games back of the Cubs now, with 2 more games to go. Leave this weekend only a game behind the Cubs?
With the tiebreaker. With the
tiebreaker? I don't know.
All right, folks.
I don't know.
You asked for it. You ready?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Sorry about it, guys. I mean, it's a kid show. This is a kid show. So I'm going to keep it a kid show. But I've come up with the phrase for now, while it's still a kid show, Big Stick Nick. It's probably a different phrase. We all know what the phrase is. But we'll stick with Big Stick Nick right now. But just pulled us right out of the grave. Right out of the grave. It was dug. It was ready. And, there's a reason that they put bells back in the day in caskets. I don't know if you know, this is a history lesson for all of you folks at 10:06 at night. But the reason they put bells in caskets is because back in the day, people used to go into comas and they weren't actually dead, but they didn't know about it. So they started realizing that you might bury these people alive. So put a bell in there. I'm not saying David Bell did that. That's not the pun I'm going for. But Nick Martini basically took that bell and started shaking it about as loud as you possibly could. And they just pulled us right out of the grave. Right out of the grave, we were dead. Can I also be honest? It is after 10. It is after 10. Big Richard Nick Martini. How about that? I do have to be honest, though. Okay, I do have to be honest. Listen, I had a doubleheader. Okay, doubleheader today. There's a lot going on. I had a 7-year-old asking me every inning if we were going to leave. I got a 12-year-old. Yeah, 12-year-old, about to be 12, locked in every pitch. I'm in the middle of two people they're on the opposite sides of the earth. One is locked into the next pitch. The other one has been done for multiple innings. So if we're being honest, because this is an honest show, I'm going to be truthful to everybody. Here's the deal. When Diaz gave up that double, your boy started walking out of the stadium. So I didn't get to experience it. I did not get to experience it the way that I would like. My son, my 12-year-old son, I'm not kidding you. This will stick with him for the rest of his life. That's how distraught this kid was. You'd have thought that the Reds just lost the World Series. No, they won. We just didn't get to actually see it the way we should have seen it. But you know what? I learned a lesson tonight. One, the Reds aren't dead. That's lesson number one. Number two is and I already know this, you just don't leave games early. Under any circumstance, it is what it is. You stay till the very last pitch. I already knew this. But I let my 7-year-old, he beat me down. If you got any young kids, I hope you understand. They'll just keep beating you over the drum, and eventually you're just like, you know what? Just go watch your iPad. So that's kind of where I was at. From now on, I think I'm going to have to leave the little ones home. And by little ones, anyone 7 and under in the house can't go to Reds games with dad, because I got a 12-year-old that literally will kill me if I ever leave early again. If it's 20-1, I'm not leaving again. Can't do it. So
well, Trace, now we're in a really difficult predicament, because you go to a playoff game and Reds are down a run in the 9th. I
might have to leave.
Like, Trace, you gotta get. Now we don't know what's what.
No, it's a bad predicament to be in. Trust me. I watched. Do you know how many innings of baseball I watched today? And I watched. We got one fucking run, 2 games in a row. I said it's just in there. We can't muster up a hit. A guy with a fucking broken toe is carrying our ass. He hadn't hit in 2 months. He's got a broken toe. He's just putting the team on his back, and he's like, look, boys, this is how you hit. Lefty on lefty. It doesn't matter. Jake Fraley's ripping doubles down the line. I was looking around. Poor Ellie De La Cruz, man. Golly day. I don't know what to do. I hope we can send some kind of care package into my man. We need to get his favorite snacks from the DR or something shipped up quick, because it's not looking good. But anyways, I don't know. I was so pissed off, though. Cubs fans are the worst. I mean, the worst, they are the worst, dude. Let's go Cubbies in the stadium when they're up 6-2. I wanted to punch somebody. I was so mad, but I didn't.
And you didn't even get to witness them leaving the stadium distraught.
Dude.
Oh,
well,
that
it might be. Actually, looking back, I do have a long event to run tomorrow. Looking back, if we're being completely honest, it might have been a blessing in disguise. Because I was so mad at Cubs fans, irrationally mad, that I would have possibly gotten in an altercation because I'd have been so arrogant on the way out. I literally would have. I would have been chanting, "Go Cubs, go! Hey Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs just lost today. Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go! Hey Chicago, what do you say? Your property franchise is not here to stay." Something like that. I don't know what it is, but I hate those bastards with a passion. I know we hired one. He's actually a pretty decent guy, but
was he there for game 2?
Not near me, or else we would have had an altercation. I was so pissed off. I feel bad for my son, but I don't feel bad for one single Cubs fan. Of course, I hope they get home safely, but outside of that, I hope they, maybe even if it's a pop tire or something like that. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, but they're obnoxious. Anyways.
I mean, the I mean, they had control of everything. I mean, just that's a gut punch to the Chicago
Hey, you want to
Cubs.
hear something actually hilarious? This is the best story of the night, right? So, again, he's actually 11. I don't know why I keep saying 12, but that's what happens when you get old and you're a dad. You just start making up ages for your kids. So he's hitting in the little wiffle ball area, right? And there's a table outside the wiffle ball area that's like eating their little lunch or whatever it was right after the game or before game 2 is what it was. This lady had a full-fledged Mountain Dew or something like that. Cubs fans sitting around a table. I'm not kidding you. This is a swear to God's true story. Son hits a ball over the fence or whatever over there in left field. It lands right on this lady's, right in her cup, spills all over her. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, that. And this was just after getting buried by him, and they're just chanting "Go Cubs, go" the whole time in the stadium. I was fired up about that. Of course, in my own head, I was like, "Oh, that stinks." I felt so sorry, but deep down, I was actually pretty proud of my son. And then what did I give him as a prize? I made him leave early, so that's tough.
Trace, talk to us about this team this year, because how many it's so many times they felt like, all right, this is probably the last straw. And how many times has it been this year at this point?
I feel I've had them out. I've counted them dead like 4 or 5 games in a row. I think the first time I counted them dead and I was disappointed, of course, was the Sunday in Oakland. That's probably the lowest the Reds have been up until this day. There was a Sunday in Oakland, and then there was going into the 9th inning tonight. I don't know, Nick. I mean, here's the thing. I still think this team has flaws. We know they have flaws. I'm not trying to sit here and be a Debbie Downer after a huge win, but it's something has to give here. We got to find a way to start being a little more consistent at the plate, guys. Like, they just look lost at times. They look uncompetitive at times. It just feels like we're begging for a rally and again, thank God the bullpen. I mean, what the hell? Can you imagine being an ass clown at the beginning of this year and sitting there screaming at the moon saying that the bullpen was a problem and that's the reason this team isn't going to compete?
The only reason this team is not in playoff contention.
What a joke. What a joke. What a joke. Anyways, I mean, the bullpen, I don't even know what to say. By the way, Lyon Richardson, thanks for giving me a hard act first inning. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but my man, you ever seen something like that? That's some Houdini shit. He just went out there and walked like 6 guys and didn't give up a run somehow. I don't know how that worked, but he definitely did it. Congratulations to Richardson. I mean, that was one of the most brilliant performances of all time. Not only, and then he came out the next inning. I actually told a guy sitting next to me, I said, have you ever seen a guy in his first 8 hitters walk 5 guys and not give up a run? Like, that's some impressive stuff. So shout out to Lyon. By the way, I guess COVID's back. I don't want to make this political, but is it back? Is that a thing again or what? I'm just asking for a friend.
Only to the Reds, apparently. Is there anyone else?
What happened? Did they have to take tests still? Is it still a thing?
No, they don't have to test. I think it's I know they don't have to test. I guess they must actually
reported on the pregame show that Hunter was feeling ill during his last start, and after the start they tested him, and that's when it came back positive. And then the MLB rules have like proximity testing, so if you're around him, then you have to be tested. So that's when the other kind of dominoes came down with Ben Lively and
who did that, Craig?
Who did what?
Who said who's like, let's test him for COVID. Let's give him a test. I'm like, hey, brother, take some NyQuil tomorrow night. Let me know if you feel any better.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, otherwise stay away from the team, man. I mean, what are we doing? We're not pulling out tests on our own guys. For a team that's manipulated the IL all year, you'd think they'd been a little wiser than that. Of course, COVID, for those that are going to try to cancel me, COVID's a very serious thing. I'm not trying to downplay it, but with all due respect, let's not test our guys for COVID.
I actually don't think they have to test anyone. I think it's just if you're feeling sick. So, I mean, these guys are actually probably legitimately sick. I'm assuming, I mean, if they tested everyone, there's probably some other guys that would test positive, right?
I mean, listen, with all due respect, Hunter threw the ball well. I mean, Seems like something he might want to continue to get if he's going to throw the ball that well.
No, I know him in particular. He left the game and they said that he felt really ill. And so that's, I guess, what started it. But Trace,
What's
you're gonna fall out of your chair when I tell you this. I said after Ellie's fourth at bat, fourth strikeout today. I said it. I think they should move him down in the lineup.
Do you care about the lineup now?
I think they need to take some pressure off of him. I think that's why I would do it more than anything.
All right. I'm a little fearful for TJ Friedl too. I know he's going to get overlooked, but I mean, what blasphemy! What that really broke my spirits too. I mean,
the bunt.
With all due respect, yeah. I mean, I understand you're bunting for a hit, but like, even if you get that bunt down, it still is going to require someone to get the guy in from third, man. I mean, like, just let's let it rip. If you get a hit, you get a hit. If you don't, you don't. I guess if he laid down a perfect bunt and they threw the ball away, I would have been screaming and yelling and saying how great of a player he was. So you can always play the catch-22 or the hindsight 2020 thing. I just, I don't know. Should I stop worrying about Friedl? You know, one thing I will say too, not to jump all over the place like I always do, but I'll do it again here. It did feel like there was a massive amount of 3-2 counts that just did not go the Reds' way. Like, it did feel like they had some decent at-bats. Friedl specifically had a great at-bat, and then he ended up striking out on, I don't know if it was a ball because I was at the stadium, but he swung at a pitch that looked like it might have been a ball for ball 4. Shout out Ian Happ on an unbelievable at-bat. Ellie De La Cruz, I don't know. I'd like to see like the all 22. We're gonna call it that. I don't know what you want to call that in baseball. All 9. I'm not trying to kick my man when he's down, but dude, that ball bounced like 3 times in the infield, bro. Like, I don't know if he was shifted way over or if he didn't see it off the bat. I just was shocked that he didn't at least he didn't glove it and keep it in the infield. I'm not saying he should have made the play, but I don't know. You probably know because you've seen it, but like, how hard was that ball hit? $50 super chat. Holy shit. Michael Rolfe said super chat for the reincarnation of a franchise. Nick, Chad, Trace, you guys are awesome. Noted, Trace. I've got 3 kids under 5. Super chat, ? From the newest free producer, is Marte more clutch than Ellie over the course of his career? I don't know. Money for the boys.
That's money.
Bro, Michael. Michael, are you rich, bro? Holy shit, dude.
Trace might be taking in some VC money, Michael. So if
that's
we need
true.
to DM,
Craig's been listening. Is he asking if Marte is going to be more clutch than Ellie?
Yep. Over the
I
course
don't know
of his
if you
career.
remember this or not. There was the question the other day asked about who do you think the numbers were going to pan themselves out. And I had Ellie third. It doesn't mean I'm down on Ellie. I just think that Ellie's going to be I hope I'm wrong, Nick. I know Nick, that's your guy.
Well, the funny thing is I had Ellie 1 in Marte 2. I had both of them ahead of McLean. So
no, I had McLean number 1 and then Marte 2. But here's the thing about Ellie. I think he's going to be a freaking like roller coaster, bro. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be like the best player in the entire world for a month and a half, and then he might end up being like the worst player in the world. And when I say worst, that's relatively speaking. I think
we need to remember that there is a ton of pressure on Ellie De La Cruz right now. Everybody in this city is expecting him to come in here and be this savior that we've heard about in the minor leagues. In reality, and no disrespect to any of the fans out there, he was good in the minors, but like, we heard a lot about the 470-foot bombs that he was hitting. Like, he's gonna struggle. We knew there was going to be struggles when he was brought up. Like, nobody is shocked by the fact that he is struggling. Now, the difference is, as a major league hitter, you need to figure out how to get out of it. And he's been in it for way too long. And that's where kind of taking some of that pressure off might help moving him down the lineup right now. Because right now, hitting in the 4 slot or the 5 slot or the 3 slot, it just feels like he's got to make something happen. And he's swinging at way too many balls out of the zone. And I think a lot of that is, 1, he just needs to see more pitches. At the end of the day, he's got to see more pitches. But 2 is that he's just trying to make things happen. The team's in a little bit of a slide. he wants to try and help the team. And at the end of the day, he's trying to do what he can, but we just got to take some of that pressure off of
it.
Mark.
Craig, you I just listened to your whole thing. Unlike Nick, I actually listened to your takes the whole way through. What you just said is so eloquent. And I look over for a half a second and I see Nick over here just giggling his ass off because Mark Fetters in the chat decides he wanted to say that of course Nick highlights the pretty girl in the chat. I mean, that's why this show's elite, man. That's why this show's elite. You can't find this nowhere else. You're going to find this on 700 WLW. No free ads, but you're not. They're probably still talking about why the Reds are terrible and they lost the first game. Somebody's calling in the station right now talking about that. Hey, listen, the final point here before I go, worst case scenario, they split. I'm not saying that's what I'm rooting for. You knew right before the series started, I wanted 3 of 4 or 4 of 4 would have been unbelievable, but 3 of 4 would have been like a big, it would have felt like this little bit of a monkey off the back because they've not won a series in so long. That means something. And I've said that time and time again. If they can just build a little confidence, whatever that looks like, that's more important than almost like a win or a loss tomorrow and or Sunday. Like this might sound stupid. This will sound stupid. I'd actually hear me out. I don't know if I actually even believe this, but if the Reds were to win both games, Saturday and Sunday, 1-0, and or if you told me they were gonna win like 12-7, and they were gonna lose an 8-7 game, I don't know. I almost just rather this offense get back on track and score some runs to get some confidence than to continue just to have to like grind it. Where have we gotten to where, do you remember back in the day, which it wasn't that long ago, to where when we were down 4-1, it felt like it was a 1-run game. And now when they're down 4-1, God's honest truth, I'm leaving the stadium. Like I don't
They're
know.
not 2-1. They were not 2-1.
2-1. And he has the audacity to say that Cubs fans are the worst when he's the one leaving the ball game when we're down 2-1.
No, I know. I deserve it all. In fact, my son, my son, man, my oldest son is. I'm never gonna live it down. There's no doubt. I'm never gonna live it down. We're walking out. And you know the banks where they got the screen and all that. And I'm watching. I'm like watching it as we're walking. And Martini hits that ball, and I immediately got excited for a half second. I look over at him, and he is pissed. And I mean, you could tell he was fighting emotions. He was happy, but he was so mad at Dad. And then obviously we kind of stood there for him. And then his final words to me, which, you know what? I'm going to eat it because I sucked. He looked at me and said, "Oh, walk off." And I was like, oh, that hurts. It hurts. But you know what? The Reds won, and that's all that matters. I mean, so what about my feelings? It doesn't matter.
One more thought here, Trace. Let's reel it back in a little bit. I'm gonna bring you something I think of note here.
Okay.
So Adbert Alzolay, he had converted 18 straight saves before he blew a save in his last outing against the Brewers, blew a second one in a row against the Reds. So the Cubs closer who really, I mean, the Cubs bullpen earlier in the year was awful. You know, they have that high run differential, but the reason that they were held back was because their bullpen was so awful the first couple months of the year. I think maybe the Reds could get in this guy's head a little bit. Maybe this starts to skid where he starts blowing some saves. Wouldn't that be great to have the Cubs just blowing games left and right all September? Wouldn't that be wonderful, Trace?
Oh, Nick, you are the mastermind of all optimistic viewpoints. I mean, you just are. You find the little sliver of optimism and you get directly to it, my man. There ain't no doubt about it.
18 in a row.
That's right. I was watching that piss poor performance. Listen to me. I was watching that piss poor performance by our offense in that first game. I look down at my phone and I see first tweet I see, Nick Kirby. This guy pitching's only thrown 79 pitches as an MLB career. He's on 74 through 4 innings. Sure enough, he keeps shoving and the Reds suck ass. But that's here nor there. As far as downfall, listen, relievers, you've said this time and time again, Nick. I do believe this. Relievers are like I almost got myself
Fickle.
in trouble.
They're fickle.
I'm almost got myself in trouble. They are very fickle, is what I was going to say. But I was going to say it in a really different way, and that was really going to be bad. So I'm glad I didn't say it. But they are fickle. They're flaky. Alexis Diaz is kind of like that. Even though he's had a lot of success this year, we can all agree that there was about a 2-week stretch there where Alexis Diaz, thank God he didn't have to have too many one-run saves because it felt like he was walking guys left and right, and everything was always, and then everyone was like talking about his rest, this, that, and the other. I don't know. My thing with the Cubs is this. The way they've been playing the last 2 months, they're not that good, okay? They're just not. They're not that good. Now, do I think that they're decent? Yes, but they're not like this team that's been playing over the last 60 days. So I'm excited to watch the Cubs fall apart. And what happened in the other games? Catch me up.
The Phillies are up 5-4 now in the bottom of the 8th. They scored 3 in the top of the 8th there to take the lead over the Brewers. So could be a rough night for the Cubs.
Well, I mean, yes and no, but the Cubs still kind of have a shot at the division. I mean, they're only 3 behind Milwaukee right now. What we want, though, we want one of those teams to sweep the other team, the Phillies or the Brewers, because we're so far behind both of them. If one of them sweeps the other one, that brings one of them back to the pack a little bit. So if the Phillies win tonight, root for the Phillies the rest of the weekend, because, I mean, there's a possibility one of those two teams just completely – collapse. I mean, look at the Diamondbacks. They had a stretch where they lost like 10 of 11 or something like that. So, yeah, whoever wins that game, root for them to win every game the rest of the series, and bring one of them back to the pack a little bit. So
you still have faith in the division, huh? A little bit?
No, not the division. But if the Brewers fall back, and the Cubs take over the Brewers, that you want one of those teams just to fall back.
Well, if you're saying the Brewers fall back, then you think that the Reds might be able to catch one of the two.
I mean, the Reds are still 6 back in the division. I mean, they'd be 5.5 back and lose the tiebreaker to the Brewers, say they were tied. But
right,
I don't know. You want one of those teams.
I almost rather. I mean, at this point, we don't really know. The Reds need to win. That's what actually really needs to happen. I'd almost rather have the Phillies fall apart a little bit.
Yeah,
no? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, if you finish the first wild card or the win the division, you get home field either way. But the chances of the Reds jumping that far is high. But
do we want home field if we're being honest?
I don't know. We play better on the road. And the Reds really, this team, they cannot capitalize at all in this ballpark. I mean, they didn't have a single extra base hit in game 1. The way this team is built right now, it's not built for this ballpark at all. Now, I think that in the future, I think guys like Spencer Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, they can really kind of take advantage of it and kind of be more like look like what Ian Happ looks like in Great America Ballpark, where he's able to make the ballpark look smaller. But right now, the Reds do not have an advantage at home at all. But
Harrison Bader, Hunter Renfroe, we need those guys to get a moment. We need them to get comfortable, feel like they're a part of the team. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, Nick. Craig, thanks for jumping in, brother, man. I got a big day tomorrow. Hopefully, if I can make it, that's great. But I got to go to bed, I got to go to bed with myself. I got to be honest. That's not the easiest thing to do. But the Reds won. And I also got to admit, I put a lot of money on the Reds game, too. A lot. A lot.
Well, Trace, as you leave, why don't you tell the folks who might be watching what you got going on tomorrow, because they might be interested in it.
Well, there's something called the Chatterbox Sports Bash on Shortvine. It is on Shortvine Street near UC, if you're familiar with that, right there near Mio's and basically that Kroger. And we're shutting the street down and running a huge operation. It's basically a big tailgate with a watch party and beer trucks, and it's a lot of work, permits, street closures. It's sometimes I wonder why I do it, but hopefully by tomorrow night I realize why we do it and I remember why we do it, and we'll keep it moving. So Yeah, that's the bash. I actually have to do a big J journalism. I got to do a big live interview on the local news tomorrow, 7:45 in the morning. No big deal. Trying to figure out what shirt I'm going to wear. What do you think I should wear, guys?
The Chatterbox OG shirt. You got to wear something Chatterbox Sports.
Right. I almost just wanted. You're right. I think the Harambe shirt might be the shirt though.
Okay. Yeah, that has the Chatterbox stuff on it though. So the Harambe, man, that you might get some clicks. You might get some clicks. You might help these stations. Do we want to help these stations though? At this point.
No, I like the stations. I like the stations. The stations are good to us. The stations are good to us. We've never had any problem with the stations. I don't know where this whole beef has come from. We love the stations. We appreciate the stations. And you know what? We hope we continue to get on the stations as long as they let us on. And as long as they tell factual information and don't piss off Elliot Rearing, we should be good. Need some Chatterbox polos. Conrad, we'll get it all. Here's the thing. Right now, I'll be honest. You know how they always say to tread in water? I'm not treading water. I'm like sinking slowly. I'm just trying to sink less slowly. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't treading water at this point for your boy. I just as soon as I thought I was down in the dumps based off of having to do like 2 shows a day, this, that, and the other, I leave a game too early and I let my son down. That's probably the worst decision I made in at least 5 years.
Well, I hope that the Bash at Short Fine has a Nick Martini moment tomorrow for you.
Oh, it will. It will. There's no doubt about it. I'll try to come live. I'll try to come on. I'll try to come on tomorrow. If I can, I can. If I can't, and life is what it is. But the Reds, boy, did they say season tonight. How stupid is it that we do this? I mean, honestly, have you ever considered that? You ever thought about it? There was some people there. There was some people there that sat in front of me that like looked like they were into music and stuff, and they were just like having a good time. They were having a good time drinking beers with their boys, and they're just like, oh yeah, just enjoying it. I'm miserable. I'm sitting there. I've watched like 14 innings of baseball. I've seen 1 run. I'm miserable. I've heard "Go Cubbies Go." I'm ready to strangle people, but I have my 2 kids there, which is why I didn't do it. Shout out Kings Island, though. I seen them running their ads tonight. Good for them. All them Cubs fans there, they knew what they were doing. They were actually trying to get season passes sold tonight down there at Kings Island. That's funny. I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if that was a bit by Kings Island, but they should turn that into a thing. Every time the Cubs are in town, they should be like running big time promos down at the stadium.
All right. Well, you go get some sleep, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow. We do have Craig. Craig will be on again tomorrow. And then we have Shay on Sunday. So we're covered this weekend. Trace will be popping in when he can. But yeah, man, what a win. What a win. God, we needed that. I needed that. Craig needed that.
Yeah, I think I tell you what, I mean, with all due respect, I'm willing to take the bullet I took tonight for you because I got news for you. Your mentions in your life would have been hell on earth with all them trolls. They'd have been in you. They'd have been all over you. They'd have been like, "Where are you at, Nick? Where are you at? This team, they quit on the team. They've quit on David Bell. They're not any good." And I told that guy to get my mentions. I'm about to go charge my phone and I'm gonna go seek and destroy. Michael Ruff, bro, you are not rich. I'm gonna read this and I gotta go. Not rich, but I believe in Chatterbox Sports. Promise me this: if the Reds win the last 2 of the series, sell a white flag, blue W, with a poop emoji right behind the W. I'll send them insufferable Cubs fans, friends of mine.
Trace,
wave the flag, baby. Wave the flag.
Trace, who scored the winning run tonight?
Give me a second now. I know Noelvi Marte came through in the clutch. Is it God, why do I not know who it was? He walked.
He really doesn't know. That's the best part. He really doesn't know.
He came into pinch run. He stole a base.
That fucking guy. Good. Stuart Fairchild. Yeah. God damn it. I forgot. I knew I knew I was gonna get tricked. Good. You know what? Kudos to Stu. He stole second. He got the third, even though it actually might have mattered.
I think it did matter. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier. First of all, he didn't even realize the ball got away. So, like, he got kind of lucky because realistically, he was not paying good enough attention. But that ball, I mean, that ball was hit hard enough up the middle that realistically, it would have been a close play at the plate, even with Stu's speed. Like, it mattered.
Hey, man, maybe he has a sixth sense, Craig. Don't count him out, brother. Maybe he has a sixth sense. He might have known exactly where that ball was.
He didn't know. Trace, before you go, though, we need a POV dunk. You can't leave without a dunk. You're right there under the hoop. We got to get it, baby.
Good point. Here, let's try.
Craig's a seasoned veteran, man. Look at him just coming on and reminding us of stuff. I got to do Cage. I got to do Cage out here, too. Oh, I would have forgot.
Yes. We're not done, Nick. You can do Nick Cage later.
Craig wants to stay on all night.
We still got to do MLB.
This is. Oh, hold on. Let's go full screen.
Full screen.
It's going to be a walk-off for your boy. My phone might break because it's going to fall.
Wouldn't be the first piece of equipment he's destroyed.
This is true.
Whoa! Athlete.
Oh, why am I so? All right,
man.
Oh,
what a night, Nick.
What a debut for Craig Sandlin. What a freaking debut. Man, I thought we were going to have to recap 2 losses. God, there's nothing worse. I mean, you talk about, and you know what? We made a rule that a doubleheader split, we only see half of Nick Cage. It's full Cage tonight. It is full cage for Nick Martini, Stuart Fairchild, Christian Encarnacion Strand, and Noelvi Marte, lifting the Reds back from the depths. We'll get to Cage in a second, but let's do this little quick minor league recap. If you listen to the podcast tomorrow, I'll run through it a little bit better because believe it or not, it was really hard to pay attention to a lot of things going on tonight when the Reds were breaking the Cubs' souls. We did have a couple good things. Craig's new favorite player, Jacob Hurtubise, hit his first home run at AAA. Jose Barrero hit his 14th home run. Reese Hines hit his 22nd home run for Chattanooga. And then Edwin Arroyo hit his 13th home run. I actually did see this one. This was an absolute bomb. So good for Edwin Arroyo. Nice to see him finishing the year strong. You see the scores there. Louisville, 12-7 winners tonight. Chattanooga, they're 4-4 at a delay. I'm guessing at this point, probably going to get called. Dayton, they lost 6-1. Probably killing their playoff chances at this point because their elimination number was down to like 7, I think, yesterday. And then Daytona, hopefully they can finish the year strong. They're up 7-1 over. How do you say that? Dundon? Is that how you say that, Craig?
Dundon,
Florida. Dundon. Just like Albert Alzolay. He's Dundon. He's Dundon.
Oh man, this show might be Dundon, man.
Craig, there's been a lot. Listen, there's been a lot of shows that I've thought we were Dundon, and somehow we kept afloat.
Oh man, 10:30 at night on the East Coast. 240 people still watching, hanging out with us after a crazy night.
I think people just fall asleep and it stays on. I don't think that many people actually watch this, but I don't know. There's a lot of people chatting. Sidnick, yes, Petty did just get called up to AA. They're going to make the playoffs. They already secured their playoff spot by winning the first half. So I think he'll get to pitch as a playoff game. So that's a pretty cool experience for him. Great to see him ending the year in AA. He's the one pitcher in the minors that I'm the highest on. So I can't wait for him to get here. I think he's going to be a stud. All right, the guy that I confused with Adbert Alzolay, Javier Assad, is going for the Cubs tomorrow against Andrew Abbott. Craig, any quick thoughts on Abbott? He's really struggled of late. 6.67 ERA over his last 6 starts. Walks have been really up, walking 5 batters per 9 over that span. And that stretch actually started against the Cubs. Only went 3 1/3, gave it 4 runs. Dansby Swanson hit a home run. Any thoughts on Abbott's struggles? Do you think that it's just fatigue? Think he can find a way to make a couple more big starts for the Reds?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think it. I mean, I don't want to knock the guy, but it feels a little different than Graham Ashcraft, right? I mean, like, I think Andrew Abbott's a great pitcher. I think he's got a great future. He doesn't feel like the dog to me. But he's just not missing a lot of bats right now. I think a lot of it could be he's just tired. There's more innings than he's thrown in his professional career already. We've talked about this offline before. Being able to spread him out down the stretch here might be beneficial. He's just lost a little bit of movement, a little bit of speed on his pitches. And again, I think the future is bright for him, but he may benefit from a little bit of a rest. It doesn't mean that we have to skip a start. Depends on how things line up for him. But even stretching him out and giving him an extra day of rest here or there between starts may be beneficial. And, the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks of the season, I think we've got 5 days off. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for that. Make sure he's nice and rested before the playoff push.
Yeah, I mean, I do think they got to shut him down at some point, but you're kind of in the situation right now where, you just called up a dude from Double-A and Carson Spires just to kind of be another option for you. I wonder, though, tomorrow if maybe they're going to say, hey, we're only going to look for 3 innings out of you. Maybe you get through, or maybe you just try to get through the lineup twice. Maybe there is almost – I know the last couple of starts he's been pulled early. I think it was more about performance kind of mixed in with the struggles and also kind of where the game was going. But maybe they just say, even if he's pitching well, maybe, hey, we're just going to try 2 times through the order, so you're not putting as much pressure on him. I wouldn't be against that. So, man, I hope he's been incredible. Man, he's been incredible keeping this team in to where they're at right now. Reds are not where they're at without Andrew Abbott. No question about it.
Without a doubt. And we've seen them already start to limit his pitches. I think his last outing was 85 pitches, if I remember correctly. My only concern is just that bullpen is worked just as heavily as he is. And at some point, you got to find some time off for them. Luckily, the schedule does line up that you're going to have an opportunity for everybody to get some rest over the next couple of weeks. So pushing them hard for the next couple of days isn't the end of the world if we're going to get them some rest over the next couple of weeks. But, man, it just – to me, and we've said this before too, is just this bullpen, while it keeps performing and has been unreal, it feels like my gut is telling me at some point they're going to need a breather. And we don't have anybody in the lineup right now or in the rotation right now who's going to be able to go out, give us 7-8 innings and really give that bullpen a rest. And so I struggle to agree to a bullpen day or give an Abbott short rest when everybody's tired. This is the playoff push, Nick. This is the time where the big dogs step up. And, I think Abbott, if he's going to be a cornerstone of your rotation, I get that he's tired, but you're going to face adversity and he's just going to have to step up and figure it out. Tomorrow's a great day to do it.
Well, the one good thing is the Reds have 10 relievers right now because they only have 4 starters because Hunter Green's on the IL. And so they do have Brett Kennedy, who's been used as a starter that's stretched out, and Carson Spires has been used as a starter that's stretched out, and TJ Antone didn't get into the game. He got activated in between the games. So that's 3 pitchers, 2 of them that can go multiple innings. So what would be awesome is if the Reds beat the crap out of Assad tomorrow, and you'd say, all right, Abbott, give us 4, and then we can get you 2 out of Spires, 3 out of Kennedy, 1 out of Antone to close the game off, and you give all the other guys a day off. That would be incredible. And the Reds, honestly, they may, David Bell may say, whatever the game is, I'm going to Spires and Kennedy for a couple innings. Maybe Diaz is the only guy that I use if we get to the 9th, but maybe I give most of the other guys just the day off after this doubleheader. But
all of these moves are hard to keep track of. I think if I remember, Spires was just the 1-day addition. I think the way that they termed it when they announced that he was brought up, he was just brought up as like a single game addition to the roster, didn't they?
No. So there was a lot of confusion on that because last year, even with the 28-man roster in September, you still got a 29th man on a doubleheader. Well, but that apparently went away. No, so Carson Spires is a special, if I'm understanding right, I could be wrong, but the way I understand it, Carson Spires is a special addition because he's replacing a guy on the COVID IL to where they don't have to put him on the 40-man roster. it was like a special like exception. So you don't have to call up a guy and DFA him. Like, you know how the Reds have done that before, where they've called up, like they were calling up dudes middle of the season, Randy Wynn, just because they were so desperate and they DFA'd him. I think it's a way they don't have to put him on the 40-man roster. And when they send him back down, it doesn't count as like an option or anything, just because he's replacing a guy in COVID. So he, as far as I know, he'll still be on there tomorrow. So, but that is 2 starting pitchers that are in the bullpen, and there's 10 total relievers right now because the Reds have manipulated it. They could send Lyon down tomorrow as well. I would not be in support of that, because I think I want to see him get another start. And then you get into
Green's
the whole.
not coming back for 7 days, so you're going to need somebody at some point. I think it's a good point. Maybe you get 4 out of Abbott, you get 4 out of Kennedy, and then you throw Spires and TJ Antone out there and try and shut it down at the end of the game. Certainly a lot of possibilities. And like you said, we do have some fresh arms, but you won't have your rocks that you've been able to lean on all year long, which in a series like this is tough.
Yeah. Some information on Javier Assad. He was moved into the rotation on August 5th. He was in the bullpen most of the year before that. He's been great for the Cubs. 2.48 ERA in 5 starts. But you know what? We called our shot. We called our shot on the Cubs closer. Said he was maybe due for a little bit of regression. Well, Assad over that stretch, he's got a 4.61 FIP. This is his first time starting a game at Great American Ballpark. You know what? Maybe he comes back down to earth. Jake Fraley set a home run against him. Jake Fraley looked great today. Man, that would be awesome. Just rope one out. I wonder if you think he'll be leading off again tomorrow.
Potentially. I mean, he's raking. I mean, at the end of the day, you need people on base, and he's getting on base. So, yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I would point out, first of all, Javier Assad, like you said, been doing well. His last 3 starts, though, where he's really been pushing, like you said, the White Sox, the Tigers, and the Pirates.
Oh,
yeah. So it's not like he's facing the best competition. His first game was against the Braves. He went 3 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs. So it's not like he's been pressured the last couple starts. Put him in a big situation like this, who knows what happens.
I like it. All right, before we get out of here, let's run through the scores. The Brewers came back and took the lead. That must be a wild game. They're up 7-5 in the top of the 9th. The Diamondbacks, they're winning 2-1 over the Orioles in the 4th. Really need them to lose. That would be huge for the Reds. So let's go O's. And then the Padres, I mean, I'm never counting on that team to do anything because they've been awful all year. But they are, hold your breath, knock on wood, they are up 6-1 over the Giants in the 3rd. So hang on there. Man, if I'll pull I don't have the standings up, but the Reds would get within a game, right? If the Giants lose.
Yeah, and it looks like the Brewers game just went final. They win 7-5. The other thing to point out is the Marlins won earlier today in 11 innings, 8-5 over the Nationals. So they kept pace, picked up half a game, I guess, technically on the day.
Okay.
Did they pick up half a game? Yeah, so
there's still a game behind the Reds. Well. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, Craig, this has been a blast, my friend. Loved having you on. Like I said, you'll be back on tomorrow. If the Reds pull off another incredible win tomorrow, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to really have some conversations about how this show moves forward, because this was some incredible magic. Any final thoughts, my friend?
My final thought is this. What nobody knows is that the reason Trace put together that new intro the other night was because of me. I texted Nick. I said, look, we need a new intro. We need to change up some mojo. And ever since then, Nick, what's happened?
We never did the new intro. It got dropped.
You never did the new intro, but you changed it up. That's all I'm going to say. We're changing things up. We're getting the mojo going. We're making a playoff push right now. We're going to be playing into October, beyond just October 1st. October 1st.
Mouse Cop Shays on Sunday. So we got him back. So All right. Shay's calling a football game, doing play-by-play tonight. I mean, you want to talk about big time. I mean, I bring these people on, and I'm like, I'm going to get myself out of here. But appreciate everyone. Like the stream on your way out. We'd appreciate it. Chatterbox Reds, everywhere you get podcasts. I'll clean up this, turn it into a podcast, do the minor league rundown, tell you what happened in the late games, where the Reds are in the standings. Appreciate all you.
Nick, we're not done.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done. Man,
come on, Nick.
Come
on, Nick.
He's a pro. All right. He's a pro. All right. We had only done half cage for doubleheader splits, but with this win tonight, it's full cage. You're going full cage. Oh, and I did it upside down. Maybe that's for the doubleheader. There you go, folks. There you go. If you're just tuning in for the first time, watch the Red Sox postgame show, and it might make sense. I don't know. But, all right, I'm done. Appreciate you all. Have a great night. Let's go, Reds.